I thought we'd revisit left-hand bends today. Two reasons really. First of all, a lot of bikes are coming out, what could be deemed the new season for some. But also off the back of my video showing the pedal cyclists with the cars overtaking on the bends. Some interesting comments. Hello there and welcome. So left-hand bends. So of the two, lefts or rights, lefts are probably more dangerous than rights. There's a reason for that. They generally afford less of a view, and your position for safety is often your position for disadvantage, whereas on a right-hand bend the reverse could be said. But by moving in towards the left to open up your view, you also move yourself away from oncoming traffic. I think before we get deeper into this, we just need to say something. These videos are not training videos per se. I'd rather hope that by doing these videos that what I'm doing for you is raising a little bit of awareness, creating a bit of thought, creating a bit of discussion, and maybe just for some riders or drivers, just drawing attention to situations that may not be immediately obvious. And the hope is that it just creates just enough thought that when you're out there on your bike or in your car, that perhaps you might not do something that could lead to potential danger for you or somebody else. I think as well with camera perspectives, it's easy to say, oh, the camera made it look so much more different than it actually was. But based on some of the comments that I've received from some of the incidents that I've shown when I'm riding, I've had to go back and revisit things just to be certain in my own mind, because I do think about what you say. Your comments on that last video were much appreciated. It was nice to see everyone getting involved, and the amount of viewers I had on that was excellent. So thank you for that, and by and large the comments were very, very positive. But having reflected on some of the comments that were made, it was necessary for me to revisit and rethink what I was doing, what my position was, what the implications were, and try and look at it from your perspective as well. I have to say that riding the road and then going back and looking at the camera sometimes does sanitize things a little bit. It does make distances and maybe views just look that little bit different. And of course, when you're riding live, you've got to make your decisions there and then. It's only you, there's no other advice coming in, and you have to play it as you see it. So we do need to have a little bit of leeway there. So with left-hand bends such as this then, hazard lines in force, a reasonable width road, a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. And the question you've got to always ask yourself is, first of all, where do you position on that road? So we know the further we move to the right, the earlier the view we get, and potentially the earlier we get seen. That's fabulous. We know that if we move further to the left on a left-hand bend, we close our view down if there are no cross or open views. People can't see us so easy because we're tucked into the left, and therefore it may be disadvantageous. One of the comments was you wouldn't ride tight left on the bends around my place because the roads are in such poor order. Well, they're not exactly in great order around here, in all fairness. And whenever I talk about road positioning in these videos, or indeed in live training, there's always a caveat. You've got to put the bike somewhere that is safe and stable. So let's quickly refresh again some of the principles that we use for road positioning. Number one, it's got to be the safest or a very safe place. So if the verge is broken, if there's gravel everywhere, if there's potholes, if it falls away, you're not going to put your bike there. If there's a junction, there's a driveway, you're not going to be tucking into the left if there's a pedestrian, and so on and so forth. I can't cover every single eventuality and possibility in a video, or my videos would be longer than they already are and you'd switch off, I guess. But suffice to say, safety is the overriding factor on where you position. You must not compromise your safety for any advantage. Now, safety and stability are very closely linked, because you want to be stable because your tyres have to grip. That's a given. However, there's situations sometimes where the optimum stability on the road is afforded in a place that might be less safe for other reasons, such as unseen oncoming traffic or even seen oncoming traffic, and a slightly less stable place is safer from you for being hit from a vehicle coming the other way. So compromises will have to be made. As the rider, you have to decide which is the highest risk, and you need to take steps to minimise that highest risk from you. So as we're looking specifically at left-hand bends today, the big question that always comes up is about moving to the right. Now, I've seen this and heard this for so many years, especially people that have touched on advanced training, you know, that you should move out to the right and open that view. Well, you can see there straight away we're approaching a left, and I have to be into the left. If I start sticking myself out to the right, I'm on offer. People are going, yeah, we can't see you. Left-hand bend here. There's no way I am going out to the crown of the road. Now I've got a view, I can go where I like. It very much depends. So a phrase we've used before is you are not making a view, but you are extending a view. Left-hand bend here. Look how close that limit point is. There is no point in me putting myself out on offer in the middle of the road to try and increase the view around that bend. So if I can't increase my view around that bend, the same with this one, it would be madness. So what are we looking for? What is making those key decisions in our brain? What information are we relying on? So as you approach a left-hand bend, the first thing that you have to assess is the width of the road and where the limit point is, and what that limit point is doing. They are key. Now, as the Advanced Handbook says, you ride on what you can see, what you can't see, and what you can reasonably expect to happen. So the next thing you need to think in your mind is worst case scenario. What is likely, what is possible to be coming towards me, and what if it's fast, and what if it's very much over my side of the road? Now, they are key bits of information and anticipation that's going to make you decide where you position your bike. It's no good looking at it through rose-coloured glasses expecting the best case scenario. You've got to expect the worst. So whilst people have said to me on occasions, you're too far into the left, no one can see you. I get that, but there's certain roads where it's necessary. It's like here. This is not a wide road, there's no central markings. I'm not tucking myself in, and I held my position there long enough to get the view, and I was happy that once that view broke, I knew it was okay to be there. So the more you're going to hang on to that offside, that rightward position, the more you've got to be ready to instantly give that position up. That's got to be at the forefront of your mind, and your eyes have to be as far up that road as possible, so anything coming towards you is going to be seen immediately. No view of that silver car, so I'm just going to ease off and just cover that front brake a little bit. Yeah, nasty old junction. It's like here, I can be out a little bit, and as that view's opening I can stay there, and the view's opened, so it's not an issue. So the critical point in all of this when considering your positioning is how far is the limit point away from you, how long is it going to take you to get to that limit point, and then what could be coming towards you and how long is it going to take to get to you. So you need to be able to move across without panicking one another, smoothly and easily, before any coming together. That's the bottom line. So in that clip where I was on the bend and the van came round, the cyclist, I still stand by the fact being into the left was absolutely the right thing for me to do. So this is the bend with the van from the other direction. So you can see there is no way that overtaking here is a good idea. Look how long that view does not brake for. It only brakes now, and then there's a junction. So for the entirety of that bend, no one should be overtaking. Had I been any further out to the right, if that van was going any faster, there would have been a big problem. He may have seen me a fraction of a second or a second earlier, but it wouldn't have made much change in the overall scenario, because he'd already committed to overtaking a cyclist on the bend with no view of the road ahead. Someone said you're doing 27, 28 mile an hour. Well, I'll then get another opinion if I go through there at 15 mile an hour saying why you're going so slow. It's the same with you when you ride your bike. The speed that you choose, you have to be comfortable that you can respond to any potential given hazard appropriately, and in that case I did. I know at 27, 28 mile an hour I'm capable of getting my bike speed off pretty quickly. There are of course scenarios that we can't legislate for. You know, there's always something that with the best will in the world things are still going to go pear-shaped. Unfortunately, that's life. So you can see that left-hand bend coming up there, you can see that van just going around. So, you know, I can be right out on the crown here. I could even offside, but it's not necessary. There's absolutely no problem with me opening up a view like this. I've got plenty of time between me and the limit point if someone comes around that corner to adjust. And by holding that view open, the view is continually opening on that limit point. So it's okay. There we go, van. So just a very slight input away from the white line if I want to. And there's the view again, nice and open, oncoming car. And I don't need to be right out on the white line here because the view of the road is sufficient. So with the left-hand bend here, zero view around the bend, fairly wide road, solid white line in force. I'm not going to be right out on that white line. I'm what you might call position 4 if you're using 1 to 5. It's an offside position, but it's not an extreme offside position, it's just to the right of my lane. So position is always going to be dependent on the distance of the view that you have ahead of you, and can you make those gentle little adjustments with no upset to yourself or anybody else. So being aware of that limit point is an important part, and also predicting what might happen in the worst case scenario. Being alert and expecting something to happen so that you're ready to respond is key to your reaction time. You significantly reduce your response times if you're expecting something to happen, just like that. Now, one other very interesting point that came up, I often use the phrase, always be able to stop safely on your own side of the road in the distance that you can see to be clear. And when I did a video on that, if I recall correctly, I also said that on narrow or single track roads you have to extend, maybe double, your stopping distance because of the vehicle coming towards you. You can't have a shared road space on a very, very narrow road. And perhaps I don't reiterate that enough, because a couple of times people have said to me, but what about the single track road? Quite right. However, one of my viewers said if you dig into the maths about it, technically it's not absolutely correct. So ultimately, as a rider, you've really got to have an awareness of how you're going to use your bike and how you're going to construct your ride, even if you don't know the maths. So when you're assessing what could be called the golden rule of being able to stop in the distance you can see to be clear, etc., etc., you've got to be aware of your own abilities to get that machine stopped smoothly and successfully and safely. Then what you've got to factor in, what could be coming towards you. The unknowns are indeed what is actually coming towards you, a bit like here. What's coming towards me? How wide is it? How fast is it? And when you start calculating stopping distances, even mathematically, there are a few variables, a few unknowns. Is that driver at or below the speed limit, or are they in excess of it? Are they on the phone? Are they distracted? Are they talking to somebody? Are they drunk? Are they drugged? Are they tired? When you're calculating pure stopping distances and overlaps on single track roads, there's too many variables to be exact. And so when you're calculating the overlaps of these overall stopping distances, to a degree it's not 100% scientific, because you're always missing certain factors to put into the equation. And as someone else said, braking in a bend, emergency braking in a bend, how'd you do that? Well, a subject for another day. It's like this left-hand bend here with the high hedge. There you go, you see. You just cannot put yourself out, can you? That leftward position, not in the gutter, but a leftward position, is going to be safer on roads such as that. It's all a matter of degree, and all hazards, possible, potential, actual, have to come into play in your decision of the position that you occupy and the speed that you choose to use. So as you can see on this road here, this is a lovely sweeping bend, fantastic views. You've got a great choice of road positioning, and there's no problem with extending that view by positioning more to the offside of your lane and getting that view through the bend, because you can see clearly that if somebody's coming, you can make any adjustments possible. And it's the same with this left-hander here, isn't it? I cannot move to the offside to increase the view. I've also got a driveway there to the left, observation mirrors. The speed's got to be low. I can be slightly out, but not by very much. Then once you've got the view, it's a different matter. You see, on roads like this, you have a much bigger choice of positioning, because you can virtually see the road surface and you can see everything that's going on. But of course the problem is, unless you can actually see the road surface, you don't know what you're going to encounter under your tyres for stability. And with these banks, sometimes they're higher than you think, or the road is lower than you think, and that's another area to be cautious about. But otherwise, it's all good. Now look how tight this left is. Anyone want to put themselves out to the right here? You're very welcome, but I'm not going to do it. You can see I'm not right in the gutter, but I'm tight enough to the left that if someone come around that corner, I can manage them. I've seen a skip lorry come around that bend. If you have to go tight left for safety, then your speed has to be down, because you have to be able to stop short of any obstruction and allow for any error on their part. The bottom line is this: if you position yourself out to have to go whoops and swerve out the way because someone's come around that corner, your judgment wasn't right, your position wasn't right. I appreciate there's some circumstances that you just cannot account for and you need to take evasive action, but generally speaking, if you're doing it a lot, you're not quite right on point with your judgment. So in summary, with left-hand bends, don't go out to the right for a view. You can go out to extend a view, providing the distance between you and the limit point is sufficient, and that any oncoming vehicle coming towards you isn't going to hit you, get close to you, or cause panic on either part. A leftward position could be favourite if the bend is extremely tight, but if it's not, then maybe a moderately central to left position. I cannot prescribe the exact places you need to ride your bike, and ultimately the decision is yours, based on the facts as you know them. So until next time, ride safe and take care.